Right. Do you mind if I take a quick refreshment break? Because it is very warm and I am very out of water.
Ooh,
So,
refreshments all around.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
I would actually need a small chair like Phil talked about, because sitting crisscross applesauce on the floor while doing a podcast, that is just cementing the fact that I'm getting old.
You are not young enough to do that, no.
No. Oh yeah, he turned off his camera while going for refreshments as well, which means that he was doing the recording in his trousers.
We don't need to see all of the details.
No. I mean, he is 48 now, so.
and we're back.
Jesus Christ!
And he's back.
That was loud.
I haven't made any changes my end.
Well, it sounded like you did, at least.
Bloody hell. You can tell it's still warm. I just took ice out the freezer, and between the kitchen next door and coming back in here, it's already practically melted. And according to my amazing IKEA purchase that I made the other day, I bought this little device. £9. It's a clock. It lights up. It's really clear. And it's got a hydrometer and a thermometer all built in for £9. And it is 28.3 degrees in here.
Oh, gee, that did too much.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very warm.
It's fun. We did some plumbing investigation last night, because my mother is living in an apartment where they have radiators that feed off a central water heating system in this area, because they have a recycling plant close by who provides hot water to all the residents in the vicinity of a couple of kilometers. And she tried turning off the radiators because it is hot outside, and then nope. It turns out that 3 of the 4 radiators does not shut off when you are turning the valve. So that is a thing for a plumber to fix. I'm not turning on anything that contains hot water under pressure. But we figured there is probably a distribution cabinet somewhere. And of course, yes, there is. And then we found out that there are 2 distinct sections in that cabinet. And one, we started counting the numbers. And yeah, that makes sense with the bathroom and the kitchen, hot and cold water. And so then we had 4 very distinct water lines on another main shutoff valve that also to the touch felt a bit hotter. So that's probably the radiator. So let's just turn this one off, and then yep, we still have water and everything else, but the radiators just went quiet. And then after a few hours, the residual heat died down. So now it's actually livable, but still all the windows are open because it's hot as hell.
This thinks his dad lives in like a rent-controlled social housing place for older people.
Yep.
It's just like sort of like kind of like sheltered accommodation. And he was complaining that all his heat is managed centrally. He can't turn his heating on or off. Oh, and for some reason, even now, his heating is still on. And despite multiple people phoning up and saying, can you please turn the heating off because it's 30 degrees outside. Why the bloody hell are my radiators on? Yeah. It's there opening all the windows, and it's like, this is costing someone a fortune.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Fix it.
that's the thing here, though, because it's usually not a heat wave. So if it's on and you can't turn it off, you just open a couple of windows and regulate that way, and you get fresh air as well.
Mm.
But now when there's a heat wave, it doesn't help opening up the windows either. So yeah, turn it off.
Can't you just pump the system with cold water instead
Mm.
to cool it down a bit, just to
Oh,
keep
that would be
everything running?
nice.
You don't heat it. That should solve everything.
Cool it instead.
You know that's this was a thing in the 80s, wasn't it? The water bed. And I remember my uncle and aunt had it, and it was amazing for us kids. We were jumping on it because this was before it was trampolines to be bought for a nickel and dime everywhere. But it is kind of nice because they came with heating as well, so you heated up the water. But it took quite a while, but I don't like heat when I'm sleeping, and of course the water bed is also too soft because I'm old and my back.
Yeah.
That got me thinking though, if I like a hard bed, somewhere in a skip, someone is probably throwing away these large radiators. But if I just put that on my bed, and then you use the thin top mattress over there, and you can just loop cold water through it. Oh, that sounds nice. Might be because it's a heat wave outside and I'm sitting still and already sweating, but yeah, a cooling bed, that would be.
I think that exists, but they are rather pricey because they want you need gravity fed water lines because you don't want a pump or anything that makes vibrations. So
Yeah.
it's a big system to it. But then you can set it so it's cool in the summertime and warm in the winter, and so I think it's a good concept, but it's not
Oh
cheap.
yeah.
And
I think it's big in the sort of biohacking community.
Yeah.
People
Because
like to
we
do that
talked
sort of
about,
thing.
of course, I have the heating cable table, and we talked about a cooling table, and then using Peltier elements. But that was rather expensive. It was
yeah,
thousands of pounds in Peltier elements, and then of course that table is 1/4 of the size of a bed, so you can time that by 4 then. And of course, you need, for those elements to work, you need to add a substantial amount of power to get them to cool down on one side. But what they do is they transfer energy, so the other side will be hot. So you need some way of removing that. So you would probably need a lot of radiators and water to transport it away anyway. So you would just be better off having an old radiator in your bed and hook it up to the faucet.
Yep, I would have done anything for a cooled bed over the last sort of 6-8 weeks, however long it's been.
Yeah.
doesn't sound like fun.
It's been rather warm. I'm not a fan of warm. Give me a cold, grey, drizzling, bit of fog. Much more
Yeah,
happier.
it's easier to cope with, and yes, I prefer that. And someone said the person that enjoys cold the most should be the one in charge of the thermostat. You, you. I mean, my wife as well. She can put more clothes on, but I can't take any more off without it being indecent. So of course, if I think it's too hot, then I can turn the thermostat down on the air condition, and then she can put on a sweater. It's much easier that way. So that lifelong discussions about the thermostat, it shouldn't really be a thing.
No. And if you're in the privilege of having a heated and air conditioned property, it should always just be at least, if it's hot, it needs to be 10 degrees cooler inside.
Yeah.
And if it's freezing outside, plus 10 is fine.
Exactly.
Hey.
So, but since we are in the half pint, and we promised we were gonna segue into the fetish section, I
Oh yeah.
I was at a clothing store today and tried on a skirt, and I took a lot
Nice.
of pictures. And
Why haven't we seen any?
that's I did not take pictures of the skirt on me, unfortunately, because the
Oh.
lighting was terrible, and as a maker, that is important. But no, I always wanted a kilt, and then a few weeks ago, someone or I stumbled over. I learned that you have something called a hiking kilt. So it's a light
Okay.
one. It's not the traditional woolen thing that's keep your nethers hot. And since there's a heat wave, I like, oh my god, I would so much have a very light linen kilt to let the breeze. I mean, anything to get a cold breeze anywhere. And then I started thinking, who makes that? And then it turns out that the Swedish company Fjällräven, they have a skirt for women for hiking, and I really like the design of it. And it's very easy, and it has deep pockets, and I could make that because as anything Fjällräven, it's quite expensive. And then I thought I could probably make it, and it would be a nice project. And I started looking at pictures and starting to figure out how it is made, and I got a reasonable picture of how to put it together. But today we walked past a Fjällräven store, and I just popped my head in, and ooh, there is the skirt. So I just picked one. Large, is that my size? And I went into the cubicle to see. All right, this is the size that would match me. And then I turned it inside out and took pictures of all the seams and pockets and whatnot before I put it out. And no, it wasn't for me. And I just left the store. so, so now I have all the external pictures from online, and I'll have all the seams and how they've done it.
And some
So
important measurements, and you can
I did not.
extrapolate from your body.
Yes.
That sort of thing.
So next time I'm at the fabric store, I'm gonna see if I can find something that matches that fabric, and there's going to be a sewing project.
Is it going to be a tactical kilt? You're going to have multiple pockets.
You know, while I was researching, there is a company in Norway who sells clothing for, I mean, all the trades for chefs, carpenters, plumbers, and anything. And you actually got a carpenter's kilt, which is a kilt with an integrated tool belt and whatnot. I haven't seen much of the tradies using them, so I'm not sure how practical they are, but at least I see there is a potential there for utilitarianism in making a kilt.
I don't think the practical aspect is possibly the reason why they don't sell many within the trade.
I can think of a couple of other reasons why they're not as popular, but
Maybe you're going to be the person to change that attitude.
yeah, but I'm not in the trades officially, so. But I mean, the purpose of a kilt is
Would you wear it to the office?
for your tool to hang loose. So of course, having a tool belt for more tools hanging, that is just adding to the original purpose, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, I could wear it at work. Of course, that would be the talk of the week, probably. Did you see Howard in the skirt and the mismatched collared shoes? I mean, holiday really didn't do him any good.
Is he okay?
Would that be they call skort on the website, or is it a longer one you were looking at?
It's It's Fjällräven Vardag.
They say it's a
skirt.
longer one.
Yeah, it's a longer
Vardag,
one.
yes. Because they had one that was the hiking, and they called it a skort instead of a
Oh yeah,
skirt. It's a short thing.
that's a skirt, but with 2 openings, so it's a short skirt thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not that one. It's a
I
long
thought
one.
that looked a little bit too of hot pantsy on you, perhaps.
Yeah,
But the other one, that looks functional, I would say.
and of course, if you would feel that that's not manly enough for you, you can take the extra step as they do in the kilt, and you can get the belt with the purse that's hanging down
Yeah,
before your
the
parts.
spore or something like that is called. Yeah, something to hold it
Well,
down.
you can. They make the expedition down skirt as well. You can have it insulated.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then you
Well,
can get that beret, but with the pom pom on the top. I'm not sure if that is something that just they do in Scrooge McDuck version of the Scottish Highland, or if it's actually a thing. I'm not sure.
I actually have on my list a plan to make a woolen, like insulated skirt wraparound thing. I mean, that is like walking around with a woolen
Like,
blanket around
yeah.
your that, and it works really well in wintertime if you're just gonna go outside for a bit. But so far, I haven't had time, or it's not on the calendar. So that is rather nice. I didn't know that they made that.
Because I remember, I think it was in 2005, I backpacked on a bicycle in Scotland, and I almost bought a kilt. Of course, I'm glad I didn't do, because then I wouldn't have money to take the final train back home. But I found out that there is a company that makes kilts. They called it a sports kilt. So there's a company, so they make it for all the Highland games. So they are made for allowing full movement and whatnot, and being durable. But it's a proper kilt making company. So you could choose the length and how many plaids you wanted, and all the bells and the whistles. And it's lost when you're looking online to what would the car cost me if I choose all the accessories. And I was just clicking through, and I think I ended up with like £1,800 for a kilt. But of course, it was
Yeah.
tailor made to your specifications. So
I mean, it's not hard to make a kilt, but it is a lot of work, and the fabric is not cheap either. If you're gonna want a proper one,
no,
so I mean, looking at
especially if you
what,
want it made from your family tartan.
yeah, but
yeah,
looking at that Vardaga thing, it's. I mean, the lining of it is not. It almost looks like it's too simple with that stretchy thing.
yeah.
Would like something to put a belt in it or something like that. If, as Phil said, you want to make it more manly, just put on some additional pockets and
Yeah, or I mean,
bat belt.
if it's going to be pocketed, you're going to carry things. I mean, belt, yeah, that would work, but also suspenders. So you can get a wide suspenders with like Makita on it. So then you could have DeWalt on the other side and Festool down the back. So,
Wow, that's quite extraordinary.
exactly. But of course, before I make that project, I need to get my sewing machine trolley up and running. And of course, when I saw the guy who made that trolley, he has the Singer heavy duty. Of course, it isn't as heavy duty as one might imagine. His words, but I really like it. And the sewing machine that I have has too many functions. I'm not going to use anything. And then I learned today that my mother's sewing machine has broken down, so she's in the market for a new one. And of course, she doesn't need all the functions on mine either. But if I give her mine, then I can get the Singer heavy duty, because it has a cooler gray color that could match the Euro crates that I'm going to use in my build, because color matters, god damn it. So we'll see, but I need that sewing machine cart done before. And maybe that could be a pitch. I need to make a skirt, so I have to build this cart to, yeah. So we'll see if I can't have two projects in one.
That's going to be potentially a slightly awkward pitch.
Yeah.
I'm giving away my sewing machine, right? Because I need a heavy duty sewing machine, right? Because I want to make myself a skirt, right? Anything else you want to tell me?
It feels like there's something else coming there. It might be.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. The problem is, could you pile on that? All right, I would like to make myself a skirt. So I need to make myself a sewing machine trolley. What else stereotypical woman folks like could you pile on there to just, yeah. But I mean, it's one straight seam up the middle, and it's a short. So
Some seriously baggy shorts.
yeah.
Some lovely culottes you're making there.
I would be all for wearing some kind of skirt dress thing, if other than I hate the feeling of skin against skin, especially on myself. So I want fabric between my body parts to feel comfortable.
It helps having a thigh gap. I'm guessing, yeah. And that's a problem. If you're making that garment for hot days, then it wouldn't help if you have sweaty body parts
dangling around.
dangling around other sweaty body parts.
I mean, I usually wore a kilt when going to music festivals because it feels appropriate.
Yeah.
So it's warm enough, definitely, but yeah, sometimes it's a bit sticky.
All right, let's.
This was gonna be the fetish version, but I'm doing my best here.
It is, but we might have to tone it down a bit. I'm doing another garment build, and I don't think this is gonna be. It's not enough for a video, but of course I've taken a page out of Lara Kampf's book, so I have my microphone on the brim of my cap, but sometimes it slides off, and it is kind of expensive equipment to continuously drop on your concrete workshop floor. And then I thought, could I make a bracket for it? A small 3D printed bracket that you could slide the microphone into, and it would keep it in place. And that bracket could be attached to the brim of any caps by just drilling 2 holes and pop rivet it in, because that will look cool. But it's also an idea that I feel I could have pitched that to Laura, and it would be interesting, because she do various caps and a janitor of LA thing, and maybe I could make a Laura Kampf microphone cap and use that as a pitch in my video, and then
that's a good idea. I mean, this could be kind of cool, just having the mounting holes in the cap without the microphone, as you say, and then you can screw it in with some M4 bolts or something like that as well. Have it removable if you have different caps.
Yeah,
it's a solid idea.
I actually bought last year a set of, I'm not sure what it's called, nut rivets. It is, you drill a hole and you put in some rivets with a special kind of pliers, and when you remove the pliers, there is actually threads in that
Riv nuts.
Yeah. But I don't think I have them down to M3. I think M6 is the smallest I have. But yeah, I'm going to look into it if you can get smaller ones.
Yeah. The smallest I could get was M20. So it comes with its own balancing system.
Yeah, you need a separate tripod to keep the weight up. Yeah.
It's basically a steady cam that you wear on your head.
Just-
Yeah, and of course, if you make it utilitarian, then you can have a lot of assortment stuff to it. So it's just you can 3D print any bracket. It just needs the 2 attachment holes for.
make a new Haavard standard of attachment.
Or I see the. This is just a brand, of course. It's Rat Rig, which I have around my camera for attaching everything to. But it's the screws for attaching things to a camera. It's standardized. I think there are 2 sizes, and then you have the cold shoe mounts and whatnot. There's an industry standard. So if I could just make a bracket for that you fit onto your cap. Then you have a cold shoe mount and a couple of screw holes to put in the microphones. So you can be your own tripod.
I am my own tripod. Who was I Am Camera? Was that a band?
I'm not
I
sure.
have never heard of it.
I was going to argue that I'm a bipod, but I am a tripod. But I'm going to be honest here, since it's the half pint. It would be a slightly obscure tripod.
Yeah, one leg is a lot longer than the rest.
Exactly.
Honestly, chaps.
Phil, shaking your head on a podcast doesn't work. You have to audibly sigh when we tell that bad jokes.
Well, it does now because you've just explained it to everyone. I'm trying to. It's not I Am Camera. I Am a Camera. There's a play and a film, a comedy drama apparently. And what's the
I have no clue where you're going with this.
I am just trying to find a diagram because this is talking about maths and I can't do the maths. Isosceles. There we go. You're an isoscelean tripod. You've got 2 sides of equal length and one which is considerably shorter.
Why haven't I heard this before as a description of a male?
Isoscelean. Yeah, that's
Isoscelean.
Yeah, I don't know if isoscelean is a word, but if it's not, it should be.
I mean, it is now.
It is now. When you connect the points.
You really shouldn't connect the points.
No, please don't. But I've discovered something. I've done something this week that I wanted to do for a long time, and I confirmed that I actually like it. It was really cool, and I had.
Please say that you're talking about something else. What we just talked about.
Iced coffee.
Should I segue? Okay. No, I had to Google to figure out what it's called in English because the Norwegian word it doesn't sound anything like anything British, but it's a trolley bus, a bicycle trolley bus.
Right.
Because in Norway there are a few derelict railroad lines, usually far into the forest because they were used to transport logs down to the more centralized part of the country for shipping out. And a lot of companies now, they have these bicycle trolleys that you can use to go along the old railway lines. And we thought, on Sunday that, all right, let's just go to one of these and rent 3 once, and we did, and it was bloody marvelous. I mean, railway lines are usually relatively flat, so it's easy. And once you get up to speed, you just have to maintain, so the pedaling is very easy. And you're driving through old forests and beautiful scenery, and these are the old train tracks that are not welded, so you get this da-dunk, 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 da-dunk. It's amazing. I love it. So I'm into that now. Of course, the entire trip I was thinking, could I make a 2-stroke contraption that I could just put down on the one track to give us some boost? So and then I realized that there are usually a lot of trusts that has taken over the ownership of these rail lines, and then there are companies who are just renting out these trolleys. But if you have your own, you can just go and pop it on and go for a ride. And is it the YouTuber called Prestonus or something? He does a lot of videos where he does various railroad contraptions. So could I get an old bicycle? Because they're basically throwing bicycles away left and right, or you can go to the local river and fish one out. And you can make your own. That would have been a cool project. So I took a lot of picture of that trolley to see how they did the wheel and make sure that it maintains on track. And it is a very easy contraption.
Yeah. It looked nice. The ones I've seen.
It sounds great and idyllic, riding through the old forest on an old railway track, and then here you come with your little.
Yeah, I did. When we discussed this, we rather quickly landed on get an old discarded electric bike and take the motor out of that one. Because usually the motors and everything works beautiful. It's just someone stole the battery or something, and batteries you can buy in bulk. And as long as it's not a bicycle, you need the bicycle. I mean, you can put any battery on it, basically. So, but then again, you don't.
Motor out of like a washing machine or something that has a lot of torque, maybe.
Yeah, but you don't need the torque, because if you have too much torque in the beginning, you just spin the wheels, and that's the problem on the old steam locomotives. They struggle with traction because they have so much torque in the beginning, because you need to start slow. So, but of course you want low gearing, and that torque, it will give you a lot of top speed. But that being said, though, we did a couple of speed runs as fast as we could pedal, and it becomes sketchy real quick. And these are old railway lines, poorly maintained, and the heat has made them a bit wobbly sideways and so on. So it might not be the best place to try and set the world speed record in a bicycle trolley.
No,
Maybe not. I mean, there really isn't anywhere soft to land if it will fall down.
But the thing, though, that it kind of annoyed me is that you could be 2 persons on one bicycle, and we had to have 3 of them. So we were, and they said you need a 10-meter gap between the trolleys, because if you have to brake, then the other one has to have time to respond. But why don't link them together?
Yeah.
We are on a railway.
Make a train.
Exactly.
yeah.
It's so dumb that nobody has thought about this. You're on a train rail. It's like
I'm sure when I was on holiday before, you used to see that there was sort of like what's like a quadricycle that you could hire as a group of tourists, and you have 4 people on, and 2 at the front would pedal, and then 2 would sit on the bench at the back, and it was basically two bicycles bolted together, and sometimes it would have a canopy over the top. Stick one of those on a rail, job done.
Yeah, or even better, I think I've seen, they're probably elsewhere, but we were in the south of the United States before they derailed, to use a train metaphor. And then it was basically a table where 10 people were sitting around, and everyone has pedals. And then there was one tour guide who was also the bartender, because it was a bicycle bar.
Ah, yeah.
So you could hop on and hop off and order drink and watch the city go by while getting hammered. All you had to do is had to chip in pedaling. So there are contraptions out there that you just smack 4 metal wheels on them and slap them onto a rail. Then you could be a party of 10.
I was actually absolutely bang on the money with the word quadricycle. That's it.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Then again, it makes sense though. Quadra 4, yeah.
Maybe just the actual product is called a quadricycle, and you can have like 4, 6, or 8-seater ones.
Yeah, 8-seater ones, and then convert them for a rail trolley. But the problem is, I realized with these are not your run-of-the-mill bicycles. These are often custom made. And yesterday, we passed someone on one of these laying down bicycle with an eggshell around. And I know, just because I checked a few years ago, these are crazy expensive. It's like £10,000 for a bicycle, because it's custom made by some bicycle designer somewhere. And I'm guessing it's the same with these quadra bikes. It's for very limited amount of people, which means that the prices are extremely high. So getting one, even second hand, to convert it would be an expensive project, I think.
Yeah, but you need to practice your TIG welding, so just make your own.
Yeah, two cheap bicycles and some square tubing, and Bob's your uncle.
Done.
Yeah.
All you need now is your private bit of woodland with an old railway running through it.
Yeah.
Just waiting on that Euro jackpot to win.
Yeah. What did he spend all this money on? Oh, he bought a railway line. So what does he do? Bicycle up and down it. Okay.
Whilst wearing a skirt.
No,
A lovely,
that's a sight.
lovely breeze.
That is a sight to end this half pint on, I feel. Wonderful.
Oh,
wonderful breeze.
Beautiful.
Good night. We'll leave you with that mental image.
Good night.